Greetings, my name is Kerry and welcome back to my channel. Today I have for you the Abookalypse tag. Now this was a really popular tag a couple of months ago when I first started watching BookTube, and at the time it was one that I really wanted to have a go at. It was originally created by Read by Liv, so I'll post her original video down below, and I just really wanted to give it a go even though it's not been around very much recently. I thought it was a really enjoyable tag, so yeah, here we go. Question 1. Everyone is safely out, but you can only go back and grab one book. Which book do you grab and why? This was quite an easy choice for me. I have gone for Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. This is my all-time favourite book, and I just got this gorgeous new edition. It's the 80th anniversary edition with a lovely embossed cover. And it's beautiful, and the book itself, the story is just wonderful. As I say, my all-time favourite book. Daphne du Maurier is one of my favourite writers. Her writing is just so atmospheric, so this is definitely the book I would want to save just so I could keep it with me and keep it safe, because it's just such a good book, and this is such a beautiful edition. Question 2. It's the book Abookalypse. Choose a book that would help you with survival skills. Now, most people have gone for variations on the Hunger Games for this, from what I remember from watching the tag, so I deliberately didn't want to go for the Hunger Games. So I've gone for another YA. It may seem like a bit of a weird choice, but I'll explain why. I've picked The Loneliest Girl in the Universe by Lauren James. This book is about Romy, who is the sole survivor on a spaceship headed to a new colony. She has had to survive on her own for several years by the time of this book, and as the book goes on you find out what happened to the rest of the crew of the ship. Towards the start of the story, another ship is sent from Earth and it's because technology has advanced since Romy's ship left Earth, it's going to catch up with her quite soon, so a lot of different twists and turns happen in the plot, and Romy has to cope with them all. So while a lot of things on the ship are provided for her, so she doesn't necessarily have bush tucker skills or hunting skills or that sort of thing, it's more about her mental capacity and the ability to cope with different situations and work through them and problem solve and all that sort of thing, which I think would be really helpful, because you don't know what situation you're going to find yourself in an apocalypse. There could be wastelands, or technology could somehow survive. You don't know, so it's more about up here, it's getting your mentality right, and so that's why I think this book would be a really helpful one for surviving in an apocalypse. Question 3. Grab anything you will need. Grab a fan or book related item you would want to save. One item came to mind quite quickly for me for this, and that is my wonderful little BB-8 keep cup. Not only is it just an adorable little fan item for one of my favourite characters from the Star Wars universe, but also being a keep cup, it's a reusable mug. It will be very useful because obviously I will also be saving quite a lot of tea, because I'm British and you can't have an apocalypse without saving tea, so this would help me to keep being able to drink my tea, which I would have a stash of obviously. So yeah, that's my fandom item I'm saving, is my keep cup. Question 4. Zombies are coming. Which book on your TBR are you dying to read? So this is actually my most recent book acquisition. You may have seen from some of my videos, I didn't think this was coming out until March of next year, and then suddenly found out 2 weeks ago it was out. Well, it was coming out at that point, it was coming out in a week. So I pre-ordered it straight away and I have it now, and I'm so excited. I haven't quite got to reading it yet, but it's pretty much next on my list to read, and that's Record of a Spaceborn Few by Becky. This is the third book in the Wayfarers series. I absolutely adore this series. Becky Chambers is such a great writer for characters, and I'm just really excited to see where the story's going next, because each book follows a slightly different set of characters. So I'm really intrigued to know what character she's picked next, and hopefully she'll keep writing the series and we'll come across all of the characters again, because I really want to know what's happened to the characters from the original book at some point as well, but I'm just really excited to see where she goes next with this series. Question 5. We Need Fire. Which 3 books would you be willing to burn from your shelf? Yes, you have to choose. So when I was watching people make this tag a couple of months ago, I thought I'd really struggle with this one because I don't keep books that I don't like. I unhaul them pretty quickly, take them down to charity shop. So I was like, I'm going to have to choose books I actually like to burn. But then my friend returned to me 2 books that I'd lent her. I'd bought them when I was writing my dissertation for my master's. I lent them to her because she was writing a dissertation for her undergraduate degree on a similar topic, and she's given them back to me, and they were books I only bought because they were the position I was arguing against in my dissertation, so I had to have them for research purposes. But actually, if there was an apocalypse and all copies of particularly one of these books were destroyed, I don't think it would be any great loss to the world. So the first of these, I cringe even saying the title, is Recovering Biblical Manhood and Womanhood. So this is a very conservative position. It tries to very strictly define what characteristics are male and what are female, and tries to pigeonhole people into these very, very narrow definitions of what they consider to be biblical manhood and womanhood, and particularly not letting or not permitting women to be in teaching or leadership roles within the church, and making them essentially into a subservient role within the family. Every time I had to pick up this book to do a bit of research, I wanted to throw it out the window. So yeah, really not a fan of this book, and it's quite chunky, so it'd be good fuel. The second book is on a similar theme. It's a slightly more moderate position. It tries to bridge the gap between the very conservative position of that one and the more feminist position, but I don't think it does it very successfully. I didn't read very much of it. It's called Recovering Biblical Ministry by Women, so it's trying to be more traditional but also nicer to women. As I say, it tries to be a bit of a middle ground, but that position isn't really very satisfying either to a Christian feminist like myself. So, and again, this is another quite fat, chunky book that we could quite easily burn, and that'd be fine. And then for the third book, there were no rules given as to what kind of books it was suggested you should burn, and I was having a look at my shelves trying to pick my third book, and I saw I had this very beefy dictionary. Who's going to need a dictionary in an apocalypse? So there's quite a lot of fuel in this. This would make our fire last for a little while. So while I object to burning books at all, those are 3 that I wouldn't mind too much. I'm really scared this stack is now going to fall on me. I'm going to put this back the other side. Okay, question 6. All the stories are true. Which fictional world would you never be able to survive in? So for this, I've picked the World from the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. There's just so much mess going on by the end of this series. This is the final book in the series, A Memory of Light. The series was so long that, bless him, Robert Jordan actually passed away before he could finish it, so Brandon Sanderson had to take over. And the reason I picked this is because just reading this book nearly killed me. There's one battle in this book that lasts over 200 pages. I never thought I was going to get to the end of reading it, and a lot of the characters don't make it to the end of the series. So I think I would be very lucky if I was one of the few people to survive to the end of the series. So really good series, but it's such a commitment if you're thinking about reading it. I do recommend them, but yeah, it's quite a commitment. Is that my bell? Sorry about that delivery I've been waiting for. Right, where's the page gone? Right. I think I finished question 6. Question 7. Lone survivor. Which character would you choose to be your companion or protector during the book Abookalypse? So my longest term fictional crush, who I will probably never get over, and every man I meet is compared to, is Mr. Knightley in Emma by Jane Austen. He is my ideal man. He is caring, he is generous, he's not afraid to speak his mind and correct Emma when she messes up, but he does it in such a way that is just so endearing, and doesn't guilt trip her, but makes her recognise that she's done badly and makes her correct and improve herself. And he's just so caring and so willing to support her in whatever way she needs throughout the book. And yeah, as I say, just my ideal man. So I don't know how he would cope in an apocalyptic situation, because he's a gentleman, so I don't know whether he's not had any sort of survival training. Obviously it's Georgian England, but I think he would be willing to do anything it took to protect his family and friends. So yeah, so he's my pick for my companion. Question 9. All the literature is gone. Which book would you introduce as the first new classic? So for this I'm picking a book that I finished off this month, and that is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. This book is just brilliant. I really enjoyed it. I found it really empowering for myself as a woman, and for its target audience of teenage people of colour, I think this would be even more so. It really deals very well with themes of oppression, and I'm excited to see how the series is going to develop. So I thought this was really well done, with characters trying to find the path between seeking revenge on their enemies and seeking peace for their nation. And I think that is a really powerful message, particularly if there been an apocalypse. That's what we need, is being able to stand up for what is right, but also being able to forgive and find ways to build a new society. And that's all things that are covered in this novel. So I think this is definitely should be in the running for a new classic. Finally, question 9. Start a new community, tag a booktube buddy. I'm not actually going to tag anyone because this is quite an old tag, and I think most of the people I'm subscribed to have already done it. If you're watching this and you haven't done this tag and you want to, then consider yourself tagged by me, and I'd love to see your video. So comment me below with a link to your video so I can see all your answers. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe and like this video if you liked it. Chat to me down in the comments. Let me know what you thought of my answers, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye!